Hey, welcome to St. Albert Sports Fans special interview with the legend. I'm here, Matt Madsen, here with St. Albert Sports Fan. Here with the legend, the first basketball coach, the first athletic director, and the first coach to coach a state championship basketball team, not only for St. Albert, in the city of Council Bluffs, Mr. John LaBonia.
Yeah.
Coach LaBonia, welcome back.
Thank you, man.
You just had a chance to talk to some of the high school students. Briefly, what do you tell the high school players now?
Well, I think the key to all of it is teamwork. It's play as a team. Not worrying about all of the individual things, the stats and all that stuff. It has nothing to do with the game. Play hard, play, we talked about play with some pride. Take the challenge. That's the game. Take the challenge. We used to always tell those kids, the fun's not the top of the mountain. The fun is climbing the mountain. That's the fun. That's the hard part. Getting to the top, that's the easy part.
So, I'm going to back up. This is a question about you now. So, you're from Des Moines. How did you get to Council Bluffs in 1964?
1964.
How did you come to this school?
Well, in 1964, Father Delahan was going to be the new superintendent and principal. And so there were Father Jim, Father Paul, and Father Dan and myself.
Okay.
I was the only
Father Jim Kiernan.
Yeah,
right?
I was the only lay person, and then there were 4 sisters, and then there was 1 other sister that did the cooking. So 9 of us. And we were supposed to start here 1 grade at a time.
Right.
And then after the first year, they decided, well, let's close everything and bring them all in here together. And so that's how, and when I came here, I coached football, basketball, baseball, track. And when we were done, Father Dan said to me, I want you to be the athletic director, and what do you want to coach? And he took me over to the fence there, and he said, see down there? That's going to be the football field. And to myself, in my mind, I said, that's probably where you should grade cattle, because there's no way that's going to be, how can you make that a football field? And then he said, you look way down the other side, that's going to be the baseball field. I said, I walked up here, I saw that gym, and I said, I'm going to be the basketball coach.
Well, our good fortune because of that. But so why did you come to Council Bluffs? Somebody call you, or
yeah,
you saw an ad?
George Cadero was the athletic director at Dowling.
Okay.
And I was the assistant football coach at Dowling, assistant baseball coach. And he called me aside. He said, let me tell you, they're going to open up a Central Catholic High School in Council Bluffs. And he said, I'm a good friend with Father Dan. You should take an opportunity to take that job. Because he said, that's going to be a great job one day. You know, and so I said, told Mary Kay, we had 2 little girls, okay, let's go. You know, and that's how I ended up here.
Well, that's true. Now, you talk about Father Dan Delahan frequently. I remember as a younger child, I would come to games and watch my uncles play who played for you, and they all send their greetings. But Father Delahan would stand with his back against the wall, and if anybody goofed around in the entire gym, he would take 1 step away from the wall and scared everybody into silence. Did he scare you too?
Oh yeah, he'd stand right outside that door there. And I remember we used to, on Sundays, we used to run our parochial league.
Oh, great. Yes, I played in that. Right?
Yeah. And so we brought the teams up here and played. Mary Kay would say, look, take the 2 girls with you. And of course, they'd be on the floor. And of course, Father Dan didn't know who they were. And he said to me, get those kids off the floor. Who are those kids? I said, those are my 2 girls. Get them off that floor. You couldn't walk on that floor with your shoes no matter what the situation was. You know, and you couldn't boo.
No. Now, he did scare everyone. But interpersonally,
it's
terrific.
Great guy.
So, tough exterior, you'd say?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and he gave the impression that he was a hard-nosed guy, and he really wasn't. But I used to, when I had cafeteria duty, he'd say to me, see that 3rd table over there? That kid's got his feet on the chair. Go tell him to get his feet off that chair. I said, Jesus, you're right there.
So you've coached the game in the 60s. Now we're 60 years later. What's the difference of basketball, or is there that much difference?
Uh, Today the difference is it's all about throwing the ball inside. Guy dunks the ball. You know, they're shooting 3-point. Very seldom do you see them run patterns and plays and cuts anymore. You know, and I think this is one of the reasons that I think high school kids really struggle, because they try to emulate those pro players and top-notch college players. You can't play that. I mean, those guys have an ability that is probably never.
Well, here's the question, or the topic everybody wants to hear about from you, Coach LaBonia. Tell us about the 1975 state championship season, or the team, whatever. Tell us about that.
You know, we were 16-6 when we got through. We really played a tough schedule. 6 losses were some real quality teams, and you know, and of course we had to go through Shenandoah, and I think we had
maybe Missouri
Valley, Shenandoah,
Creston, maybe? Creston, yeah.
And for some reason, Creston thought they could beat us. They were champions of the conference and that, and we destroyed them over the hill.
Sure.
I mean, we beat them by. We must have had a 25-point halftime lead, you know. And the coach is a good friend of mine. I said, Jesus, what'd you do to those kids to play like that, you know? But we could press, you know, we could play great matchup defense. We were patient on offense. We'd come down, we made hold the ball 35 seconds before we took a shot. We made you play defense, and if you didn't, you know, and we bring it into Marty inside, Jimmy on the outside there, Einen, and but Dick and those guys. And
you talked about Marty Wolver, the great Marty Wolver. His father, Chuck Wolver, followed you as assistant athletic director.
Yeah.
And Jim Murphy.
Jim Murphy played here.
Coach Dick Wettengale was point guard on that team. Jim Haas.
I think Jim Haas was our 6th man.
Right.
And he was an excellent player. Gary Randoni played on that team, and Doc Romano played on that team.
Yeah, Mike Romano, yes. Mike could get space. He was tough. He could create space for himself in the lane.
Oh, yeah.
There'd be a halo around him because he cleared himself out. But I think we're restarting, Coach. So.
Okay, well, I was just saying, we played Doc on the top. We played Dick on the center, and then we played the 3 guys. That's the way we set up in our matchup defense. So that means when the ball came to the one side of the court, Doc was the backside rebounder. And like you said, Doc took up space.
Yeah.
And another thing Doc did, when he was coming down the middle of the floor on a break, he'd run right over you. I mean, you only took that charge once.
Right.
He couldn't go left or right, but boy, he'd go straight ahead.
And started his athletic career at Iowa State.
Yeah.
To play football until he ruined his knees and went back to Creighton and decided med school is a better option than wrecking more knees. Yeah. Well, I'm friends with Mike to this day, so he's a terrific guy.
Yeah.
I will show one picture. Maybe I have Noah zoom on this. Well, you take a picture. Look for. There's you.
Yeah.
You're looking a little bit like Rodney Dangerfield. You're talking and you're adjusting your tie there. Like, you know, and it's not true that you can't get no respect, like Rodney Dangerfield said, because we have great respect for you here. But there's photos of, there's a line of cars. The Council Bluffs paper said there were 400 cars.
There were.
Lined up, got off the interstate. There was a caravan of 400 cars driving up here to have a celebration in the gym here with that.
And all the kids were, the players were on a
fire
truck.
Yes.
Yeah, they're on a fire engine. Yeah, it was I think it was the first championship Council Bluffs had.
Right.
You know, I remember Dick John. I mean, I don't know if his name was.
OAL had Abraham Lincoln would qualify for state tournaments, but not quite win with Coach there. I think Thomas Jefferson might have won some baseball titles.
Yes,
this was the first basketball or football. I mean, and Sam brought the first football title here before anyone else did too. This was the first basketball title that people brought.
But one of the biggest thing was my '66 team. Well,
this was the first 1966.
1966.
The first,
when we all
the first full team.
Well, the first year we came together, we were 9-9.
Mm-hmm.
But in the meantime, we lost the first 5 or 6 games. But in the second half, all these guys became eligible. We took Ron Kessler from AL.
Right.
We took
Was Rob Iyer on that team?
Randy Iyer.
Randy Iyer.
Yeah.
Great player.
And then we took
Steve Shudak.
Steve Shudak came over from that, and we had Larry Patton on that team.
Yeah.
He was on that team, and we had Dan Ring.
Sure.
And Father Dan said, I don't want any young guys playing. They gotta be juniors and seniors. They can't play. So I went in and I said, hey Dan, the kid's 16 years old. You can't play him against a 14-year-old league because he's a freshman. Well, he started making an exception. Yeah. Ringo was a player.
Yes.
He was a player. And we're one game away from playing in the sub-state finals. And so we got AL at TJ. The place is loaded. And we knew a lot of the AL people because Bob Heidoff was a good friend of ours, and he was a member of the Golf and Country Club here, so he knew all these guys. They had all made reservations to Des Moines and that, and we kicked their butts over there that day. Iyer must have had 28 points, and I mean, they booed him, but he thrived on it, you know. So to me, that was that team went 22-3.
Yeah.
23-2. Only lost one game with those kids, other than Shenandoah beating us, and that's because of Van Bronson.
Van Bronson went on to play quarterback at Nebraska.
That's right. Van Bronson was an excellent basketball player.
Sure.
Probably could have played somewhere. And they had a kid named Creighton, was another good player, and they beat us by 2 or 3 points. And if that would have happened, we'd had to go play Jefferson because we went to the state tournament. But you know, you're talking about school our size playing in that big thing. Had we been in 3 classes, in Tim's class, we'd have won. We could have very easily have won 3 state championships.
And for a little context, for many years, the Boys High School Athletic Association played 2 classes, a large class and a small class.
That's it.
And we were always in the large class.
Yeah, we were in the large class of 300, and Marshalltown may have 2,000. Davenport,
Central,
you
Davenport
know,
West,
yeah,
some
those
gigantic schools.
Gigantic schools. So, I mean, our chance to make, so in 75 was the first year they went to 3 classes.
Yeah, 1975, the seas parted.
Yeah.
And there was our spot, our sweet spot in the middle.
Tim's senior year.
Right.
That's the best team I coached here.
Yeah.
I mean, that team had everything it took. Harlan beat us, and Harlan ended up second in the state that year.
I was at that game as a 7th grader, packed into AL with everybody else. That was, and then their best defender, Don Quinn, came down here and coached basketball with Mike Kavars.
Yeah.
He ended up being one of our coaches.
I try like hell to get him to coach here, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, I had Terry Coleman, was a defensive genius. Mike Kavars was a great defensive coach, a great coach. And I had to work like hell to get him the job here. You know, and when I left AD here, I said, you got to give Kavars the job. The guy's more than capable. I said, and so he got the job. And Mike went on to win here.
Right.
Too.
He was, when my final year, your final year here, Coach, I was a sophomore on the JV team.
Yeah.
And then the next year, the junior year, we were playing against Mike Kavars was our coach.
Yeah.
We lost, same thing. We got to the sub-state final, like you guys did in 76 and 77. Same place, played Atlantic at AL, and didn't quite get over the hump. But here's what I remember, then we'll let our fans go after, and we'll give you one final statement here. We were ready to play the sub-state final against Atlantic at AL, and Coach Kavars says, I have a telegram here from Coach LaBonia. This was old days, and Noah, our cameraman here, won't know what a telegram is, right? It was before faxes and before everything. You know, the guy would deliver you a telegram, and it was better than a phone call and faster than a letter. And it said, you wish us good luck in the sub-state game. And here's the ending quote was, the pasta and the welcome are waiting in Des Moines. Because you wanted us to win so you could host us, because you were coaching at Dowling at the time. I still remember that. The pasta and the welcome are waiting in Des Moines. So let's say this, in Council Bluffs, you're always welcome. We're so glad to have you here.
Love coming back here. Like I said, I think to cut my veins, I bleed gold and green.
Fantastic.
I mean, like I was telling these kids, I get up on that in Florida, first thing I look at, how they do. or somebody will call, and Jim Murphy or somebody will call, and I'll say, "Hey Jim, how's the basketball team doing?" "Not very good, coach. Not very good." That was hard for me to accept that, you know. And when I talked to him when he was there, he said, "What do you think?" I said, "Why in the hell don't you go back to St. Albert's? You owe him.
Yeah.
You owe him something."
You're talking about Coach Cannon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He says, "You owe him something." And he said, "You know, I might do that. I might do that." And he called me and said, "You know what? I think I'm going to be the coach over there." I said, "Great. Whatever we can do to help you, we'll do that."
And this today was, we'll have to post it on Sportsman. We took a picture of that board, Coach, you had with the points the kids need to and the team needs to do. So we're grateful for that.
Well, yeah.
Coach, we'll let you go. Again, a true legend. Now, sometimes that word is overused. John LaBonia, first basketball coach, first athletic director here, won the first state basketball title in Council Bluffs history. And to this day, I don't think any other teams have won a championship. I don't think ALTJ or Lewis Central, and boys or girls, have won a championship.
We dominated Lewis Central. I think they beat us once in the 10 years I was here.
A point of pride on your part, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Too. You know, and but just when you got a bunch of kids, you got some pride, and we had a lot of pride up here. In fact, Kenny Peterson and I used to call this thing over here on the when you came up the backside, Falcon Pass.
We're going to get that back into use.
Yeah, you can go to AL over there. We say, that's Falcon Pass. That's where you go where the winners are.
I'm going to go on to Google Maps and rename it right now. Well, thank you again, once again, Coach LaBonia.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming back. Thanks so much, Noah.